I want to compare. They say compare and contrast the homework during my time and homework now. Now that my last born has just completed his Form 4. I went to very many schools because my father was a policeman and he used to get constant transfers. But I want to talk generally of how things were that time. I remember in Kajiado, PBS, there was no electricity during that time. Actually, the month that I left that school is when the electricity was first brought to Kajiado town. So we used to have pressure lamp, and I remember teachers would teach us during daytime, but then subjects like maths, they would teach us during the day and give us a lot of maths to exercise to do at night under the pressure lamp. Schools that I was in, day school, because there are several, not less than 5. I will not count them, but 4, 5, yeah, 4, 5, 6. Day school, I don't remember people being given assignment to go and do at home, simply because in many schools, we were schooling with, in our home there used to be electricity, but then there is a time, there are 2 schools, I have told you I was in 5 schools. 2 schools I went to at home. One is now called St. Mukasa at Chimoi, and then there is also Luandeti DEB. There used to be no homework because at night there was no electricity. I think that was the reason. You leave school at 3 or 3:30 or 4. You only have 2 hours of sunshine. And then at night it is dark in the house, so there used to be no homework. But in secondary, that is Form 1 to Form 4, I was in a day school, Nairobi Technical, and in A-levels, Form 5 and 6, the homework was, let me start with high school, Form 5 and 6, because it was a boarding school, and we used to have homework, just like the one we had in primary boarding school, where teachers would give you assignment to do at night. So they used to take advantage that prep, they used to call it prep. Prep time was mostly done where you could do your own work. The teacher would teach you, let's say board mass. I just given one example, board mass, and then he would give you 30 or 40 questions for you to answer at night connected to board mass and other lessons. Once in a while, during my A-level, the teacher would catch up and come to the class at night, and then we could write notes, either through dictation or he would write on chalkboard and we would copy. But during day school, as I said, our parents, most of us had parents who were illiterate. But me, my father was a senior police officer, a person who had bypassed Swahili literacy test. He had done English literacy test. He had done inspectorate exam, and he had done gazetted police officers exams. So this is a person who was well versed. I do remember all the 4 years. First of all, my father was very busy professionally, being a provincial CID officer, and also in the evening he was rarely found because somebody who would spend time in the evening having a drink somewhere. But the days when, and being a provincial CID officer, he used to visit outstations because of his work. So the few days that he had time, he would ask for my books, and he would take each and every exercise book and look at them one by one. I don't remember any time when we had an interaction the way I had interactions with my kids, because with my kids it was like I was the night teacher, the one we used to call tuition or something, private tutor, because a big aspect of their learning I would be teaching them. But I remember my son Benson, before he left a private school to go to a city council school, the private school he used to go to they used to learn French. So homework of French I used to we could go with him and I would ask him a lot of questions. How is Monday called? How is Tuesday called? And I would look at his textbook and exercise book, and I would tell him to repeatedly pronounce that. So we used to gain, both of us, because he became very good in pronunciation of French, and I was learning from him. How is Saturday called? He would say Samedi. He say, can you pronounce it better? He repeats it several times. But when he joined council school, he lost, I don't even think he remembers even the little French but me having learned from him as an adult, I maintained the French up to now. So what my father used to do, he would check all my exercise books, and he had this theory that it is quite impossible for me to study a whole day without doing any work in any lesson and any marking. So he had this idea that for a day that I didn't write any notes, for a day that you see, you can write a note in maths and then or English, and then the teacher marks the geography teacher marks your geography book. So he wanted to see I've written notes in one subject, and another subject has been the teacher has marked with a red biro. That was his way of making sure, knowing that I did not miss classes. But my sister, my father, I don't know how she used to convince him, because she used to not to go to school and do some funny things that girls should not do. Or even she was not yet ripe for such things. But me, Dad used to make sure that he would check my books, not to counter check or anything, but his was it was his way of inspecting and making sure that I had been to school. I have been to school. That is how my father used to ascertain or participate in my homework. But then my kids, the way they have been, in secondary they went to a boarding school, but in primary I participated in the way I participated in homework. I think I'm even qualified to be employed as a teacher, because I knew all the subjects from standard 1 up to standard 8. Those days, even though our parents were not as educated as parents of today, some were completely literate. But those days, homework used to be the work of the student. Nowadays, if you are a parent and your work, either you are a guard who guards at night, or even a doctor or even in the police, those whose work, they work up to midnight or whatever, it's really bad. You have to participate in it. And I'm even made to understand that CBC, you're even supposed to buy things and start cooking with the kid and whatever. But anyway, the purpose of this tape was to compare homework during 763 and 844. Somebody else will come and maybe compare it with the CBC, which you have already seen, that kids are supposed to buy hens and slaughter and cook and then write notes. But it is too early, and I don't have a CBC child, so I'm not qualified to talk about that.